Hello, and welcome to Replay Value.
Attack on Titan is the anime that got me into TV anime. Sure, I had seen Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Digimon as a little kid. I was well aware of anime films, having seen most of the Studio Ghibli catalog through my own film study as well as works by Satoshi Kon, but it wasn't until a friend of mine sat me down and showed me the first episode of Shingeki no Kyojin that I started to recognize TV anime. I think AOT is a great show with an amazing soundtrack, a strong understanding of how to utilize narrative questions, an almost scary ingenuity when it comes to showcasing the visceral appeal of the 3DMG, and a penchant for strong moments, as well as cliffhangers. One of my favorite scenes in the show is the ending of episode 8 and how it's able to convey so much emotion through simple framing, perfect use of sound, and layered meaning. Attack on Titan does a pretty good job of establishing the ground as a dangerous place to be. Fighting the Titans is an impossible task when you're limited to the Earth. Having no gas in your 3DMG is effectively a death sentence. The citizenry who is limited to the ground are constantly shown being unable to defend themselves and are instead totally reliant on the soldiers. There is a reason why emotional low points are constantly being shown on the ground. Like when Hannah has a breakdown trying to resuscitate Franz, who's in half, Armin while watching that happen, or Mikasa when she accepts death after hearing the news of Eren's death. Mikasa's crash to the ground is in stark contrast to her blading through Titans just moments earlier. She went from invincible to vulnerable in a heartbeat. That vulnerability enables her character growth, though, as she resolves to live on, and later recognizes the importance of protecting more than just herself and Eren, but the role of the strong in protecting the weak. And we can see that not only in refusing to leave Armin behind, but also later in episode 8 when she jumps to Sasha's defense after she fails to kill the Titan, compared to when Mikasa was willing to lead everyone astray in her attempted suicide. When the Titan that kills the other Titans finishes off the abnormal that killed Thomas. A brief aside, I think at this point it's a pretty obvious bet what's going to happen next if the fighting stance earlier wasn't. Jean turns away saying that they should leave. As he turns back, the camera matches his movement by panning over Armin and Mikasa staring. We continue the same movement over the other four before matching the eye movement of Jean looking down on the fallen body. As we reverse that movement to track Eren's rise from the Titan, the person most shocked by this is Mikasa, who we zoom in on, before panning up Eren again, Mikasa's point of view, followed by another zoom. This framing decision immediately makes this scene personal for Mikasa. The fact that Armin and the other four are completely forgotten in these shots tells us what the focus is, and that's furthered when the five are framed in the top left as Mikasa begins centered and exits bottom right. The only word spoken as the score continues to fade in, leaving behind this lone piano note to bring in a bass line, is Armin saying, Mikasa. His warning is notable. The ground is a dangerous place to be, and he's unsure about the circumstances. Is that actually Eren? If it is he even alive? There are a lot of questions at play here, and there's no guarantee that this is a blessing. If things don't turn out positively, will Mikasa be okay, or will this be more shattering for her than Eren's supposed death earlier? The next shot uses the same top left to right movement from before, which places us on Eren's body rising from the Titan in the following one. There is a ton of distance between Eren and Mikasa here, as though Eren is still dead, unreachable. But the hope, the possibility that Eren is alive is the only thing that Mikasa can focus on. The background disappearing as she runs towards him, desperation on her face, panting, as the only thing in her eyes is the boy coated in wisps of smoke. Only the score is left as she grabs him, hugging the seemingly lifeless body of her reason for living, as the camera slowly zooms out just to reveal more smoke and gray. There is nothing in the world except for these two characters in this moment. The lone piano note provides a rhythm to the entire sequence.
Almost like the beat of a heart monitor, just as it changes to a higher note at this moment. This creates an audio expectation just as Mikasa puts her ear against Eren's chest.
Sure enough, the sound of the heartbeat plays exactly on the beat of the piano note, with the exception of the last one, which lets the heartbeat play with no accompaniment whatsoever. The gap has been breached as the song then changes, no longer using a lone piano note, but instead using a choir as the melodic bass, leaving Mikasa's cries as the focus. Indeed, we've gotten another emotional, grounded moment, but this time it's one of joy instead of sadness. This moment of isolation between the two is then broken as the others swing down to join her, and we zoom way out to the walls of Trost, bringing us back into the context of the world and the small scale of this miracle in the wake of such death and destruction. The way that Attack on Titan consistently uses Mikasa as a way to bring the grandiose story to a personal level is such a brilliant achievement that is made clear not only through the character's feelings and emotional growth, but also through the shot composition and the use of sound. What words need to be said in hearing the heartbeat? What dialogue could possibly be used to convey this more beautifully than through pure visuals, score, and performance? There are times when dialogue is important. A certain scarf scene comes to mind, but here I can think of no better way to build meaning than through a lone heartbeat. Until next time, hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.